Around 20 to 30% of stroke survivors experience foot drop, and it can be a real hindrance to walking again after a stroke. So in this video, I'm going to go through 6 different stretches and exercises to help you improve your foot drop after stroke. If you wear an AFO or an ankle foot orthosis, you won't need to have it on for this video. Let's get into it. Our first exercise is going to focus on dorsiflexion and calf stretching. So for this one, if you have a Gait belt, a bed sheet, a towel, you are going to just slide that under the ball of your affected foot, gently extend your knee, and then pull back and hold your foot up. So we're just going to give a nice stretch to your calf muscle. And this is really important. We are doing this because foot drop happens for 2 primary reasons. The first is weakness of the dorsiflexor muscles, the muscles that help you to point your toes up and lift your foot. But the second reason is that we often see spasticity of the muscles on the back of your lower leg, your calf muscles. And when those 2 things combine, it can make it really hard to lift your foot and to bring your toes up after a stroke. So stretching, weight bearing are both very important to reduce spasticity, and then strengthening of the dorsiflexors is the other important piece. So we're moving on to our next exercise, which is going to be passive dorsiflexion. So for this exercise, we are going to bring your affected leg either onto your knee or onto a bed or couch. And what you're going to do is passively, meaning you're doing the movement with your hand, you're not actively trying to move it. You're going to try to bring your foot back, toes up, and do some repetitions this way. Very nice. So we're just passively doing this. We are getting our muscles primed and ready as we're going to try to actively go into some movement next. We are almost there. Doing great. Hang with me. All right, now we're moving into active dorsiflexion. So if you want, you can stay in this position or have your foot hanging off the side of the bed or a couch. And what you're going to do is actively now, you're going to try to bring those toes back. Just like this. Good. Now here's the thing, I know not everybody is going to have this level of movement. You may just get a little bit of a muscle twitch, a little bit of those toes moving up, and that is fine. Everyone is starting at a very different place. So whatever you have, use it. We are trying to remake those brain-body connections. I tell people all the time about their hands, it's a brain thing, not a hand thing or not an arm thing. Same thing with the foot. It's a brain thing, not a foot thing. So what we're doing through all of these repetitions is trying to remake and rebuild those neural pathways, those brain pathways through neuroplasticity. Great job, we're almost there. And let's go ahead and go into resistive dorsiflexion. So if you're able to tolerate a little bit of weight, a little resistance, we're gonna up the ante a little bit. If you have a cuff weight, slide that around the ball of your foot. We're adding some resistance now. Now here's the thing, you can stay in this position and continue to try to lift those toes up, sitting in this position. However, if you are up for a little bit more of a challenge, you can take your foot all the way to the floor and you're gonna try to lift your toes up this way. And this way can be a little easier too if you don't have a cuff weight, because what you can do is actually grab a bag of dried beans, 1 pound, 2 pound, drape it across your foot or tape it on, however works for you, so that you can get a little bit of extra added resistance there. You don't have to have a fancy cuff weight. You can use something from around the house. But this is giving us a little more challenge because we are now dealing with gravity as well. All right, let's go ahead and move into our 5th exercise, which is going to be standing weight bearing. Yes, we're really just going to be standing up, getting some weight down through our leg. So I recommend holding on to something, usually something in front of you, which I'm not gonna do just so you can see me, but we're gonna stand. Weight bearing is incredibly important along with stretching to help reduce spasticity. And we know, as I mentioned earlier, that foot drop is often caused by, in part, due to spasticity of those calf muscles, the gastrocnemius, the soleus, the tibialis posterior. Those can all become spastic after a stroke and really push those toes down. Now here's the thing, if this is too easy, just standing and weight bearing, if you're ready for it, you can go into a one-leg stand where you're lifting up your unaffected leg and just standing on your affected leg. Only do this if you feel confident, comfortable, and safe enough to do so, or if you have someone with you who can help. All right, last exercise now, we're gonna go into standing weight shifts, meaning we're gonna shift our weight from one leg to the other. Again, this weight bearing is a very important piece of helping to counteract that spasticity. We did some strengthening, we did some range of motion for those dorsiflexors. This is also helping to remake those brain and body connections, helping to reduce some of that spasticity. But if you're an overachiever or you have more movement and you need a little bit more of a challenge, here you go. For this one, as you go over onto your affected leg, you're gonna try to lift your toes up. You will notice I have something behind me because these last two can really interrupt your balance. If you feel the need, please have something behind you to sit on, have something to hold on to so that you are being safe as you go through these exercises. All right, so we are gonna stop here and take just a quick 25-second break. Let's just sit and relax for a moment. Catch your breath if you need to. We are also getting ready to start these exercises over through one more set. So take a nice big deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Good job. We're gonna go ahead and get back into our dorsiflexor and calf stretch. So we're gonna go back, take our gait belt, towel, bed sheet, whatever you got. We're sliding that underneath the ball of our foot, straightening our knee out a little bit and really pulling our foot back. And then we're just holding here. Now, something I didn't talk about in the first set was AFOs, ankle foot orthoses, because I know a lot of you probably have the question of, you know, when do I wear it? How should I wear it? And, you know, in rehab, the hope is that, you know, we use AFOs early on after a stroke so that we can get you up on your feet, working on walking and standing and all of those things, with hopefully the eventual goal of, you know, remediating or making that strength better so that you hopefully don't need them. That's not always the case. Some people will always need to wear AFOs, but part of what we're working on by not wearing the AFO is strengthening up those muscles, you know, that have become weak. So let's go ahead and move into our next exercise, which is passive dorsiflexion. So we're gonna get back into that position where your affected leg is coming up onto your knee or onto the side of a bed or a couch. And you are passively using your unaffected hand to just move your ankle through that movement. We are prepping and getting ready, getting those muscles ready to start actively moving. So you're just trying to move your ankle with your hand and not actively trying to move it. Although if you want to help a little bit, that's okay too. Again, anything that will help remake those brain-body connections, we are okay with. And that comes with a lot of repetition. So that's why we're doing a lot of these. You're doing great. We're almost ready for the next one. Very nice. We're moving into active dorsiflexion. Now, I didn't show you this last time for this particular exercise, but you can stay in this position, or if you want more of a challenge, like with the resistive dorsiflexion, you can bring your foot down to the ground, and you're going to try to lift your toes up from the ground level. You're going to get a little bit more of a challenge this way. You're not only in this different position, but you're fighting gravity. Gravity is right down on those toes. Whereas we take out some of those effects when your foot is sideways. So you pick out what's easier for you. It may be easier to have your foot on the ground. Maybe harder to get your leg crossed. So figure out what's best for you and do that. As always, I can't even remember if I've said this yet, but it's always important to note, do not push through pain. Muscle soreness is okay, but if you start feeling some really sharp, acute pain on any of these, I want you to back off, because what we don't want to do is cause another injury. All right, we're moving on to the next exercise, which is the resistive dorsiflexion. So again, we can either come into this position with your leg and your foot resting on your other knee. I'm gonna put this cuff weight on, but if you have just a bag of dried beans laying around the house, grab that. Bag of rice, whatever you have. I'm gonna go ahead and take my foot back down to the floor. This is giving us a little bit more challenge. We're bringing those toes up to the ceiling. Very nice. Lifting those toes, really focusing on strengthening those dorsiflexors. Our active movement, the one before this, is doing that. Resistive exercise is giving another last challenge to strengthen those dorsiflexors. We're doing what we can to strengthen those weak muscles. And repetition is what's going to be really important. This video is meant to come back to time and again so that you can continue to work on stretching, weight bearing, and strengthening. We're at our last two exercises, so let's go ahead and take this weight off. And we're just gonna go right into standing weight bearing. So I'm bringing my support over. Like I said before, you wanna probably have something in front of you to hold on to, something behind you to sit down on if you start feeling off balance. But for this one, we are just standing here. We are standing, getting our weight down through our feet, really paying attention, really feeling it. Like I mentioned before, this weight bearing is very important to help reduce some of that spasticity, that muscle tone, so that we can have better dorsiflexion. Doing this exercise program, this workout, can be really helpful before you maybe start trying to do some transfers or even walking around your house, whether you're using a walker, any assistive equipment to help you with that. But this is a good way to start waking up those muscles and get them ready to go into walking and moving around and transferring. All right, let's go ahead and go into our last exercise, which is going to be standing weight shifts. So we're just going from side to side. I didn't mention during the last exercise, but I think I mentioned it the first time around. If you needed more of a challenge with that one, up on one leg. But for this one, we're going side to side, shifting our weight, because this shifting is also a very important piece of walking. When we walk, we have to shift our weight to one side so that we can lift our leg and take a step. Now, if you need more of a challenge with this one, as we shift over onto your affected side, toes are going to come up. Yeah, that's a tough one. So we shift over to your affected side, toe comes up, back over, toe comes up, over. Very nice. Yeah, this one's a toughie. Definitely have something to sit down on behind you with this one. Doing very good. And rest. Wonderful job. You made it to the end. I hope that you are proud of yourself. I am proud of you for making it this far. Let's go ahead and just sit back down. Let's take one big deep breath together. In through your nose, out through your mouth. Very nice. As always, I'm going to leave a link down in the description if you would like to sign up for the email list, which gets you free stroke recovery tips and motivational emails every week, as well as a free copy of my ebook, The Stroke Recovery Pocket Guide. And if you find value in what we do here at Post Stroke and you're able, please consider donating, either for a one-time donation via PayPal or by becoming a Patreon member, where a monthly donation gets you access to cool perks. And those cool perks include YouTube shoutouts for our Empowerer tier. And I have one of those today. Thank you so much to Doug C. for becoming our first Patreon member. We are so thankful for you and for believing in what we do here at Post Stroke. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you next time.